Welcome to Renewed and Radiant, the faith-based wellness podcast for women over 40 who are ready to elevate their health, their mindset, and their spirit. I'm your host, Elsa Martin, functional nutritionist specializing in women's hormone health. I'll be guiding you to live boldly, age gracefully, and walk fully into your God-given power. Here you'll find faith-fueled, based on science, strategies for your health, spiritual renewal, and holistic living. Because this chapter of your life isn't about slowing down. It's about rising together, rising higher. Each week, we're going to work on renewing your mind, strengthening your body, and reviving your spirit, all through the lens of divine wellness. You are not called to fade. You are called to shine. This is Renewed and Radiant, where faith renews, wellness restores, and you rise radiant to design the life that you love. Okay, ladies, this is gonna get spicy today. Let me share this lady's bio with you. Angela Griffith is a challenger of the status quo and a disruptor of what has always been. Angela is known as the Christian Sexpert to over 100,000 social media followers. She has dedicated over 20 years to the study of human sexuality and God's design for sex. Her passion is coaching women to discover a healthier relationship with their God-given sexuality. She is a sex and intimacy coach and uses her social media platform to provide the sex education that you wish you had. She has created multiple products designed to improve the sexual and non-sexual intimacies in your marriage. She will have you reaching for pearls to clutch, make you laugh, make you blush, and make you search your Bible asking, is she serious? It really says that? She's ready to set you on a new path with your husband, telling you to go have good sex. Woo! Welcome, Angela. I am so
Thank you.
pumped to have you here today. Angela, I love to hear the real and raw story. So I'm interested to hear a bit of your story of where you were, what got you where you are today. And most of all, of course, we want some takeaways, some practical tips from you today because you're the expert.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm often asked, Christian and sex educator, Christian and sex coach. That doesn't seem like it goes together. I'm like, but it does, because my Bible has Song of Solomon. I don't know if yours does. So a million years, when people ask, like, how did you get to this place? I tell them that a million years ago, good girls from small towns didn't go to school to become sex therapists or sex coaches. They went to school to get their MRS degree. And if you went to a small Christian college, you get the joke, because the MRS is kind of the ring by spring, right? So being a good girl from a small town, I graduated with my degree in religion and psychology, and I got married just a few weeks after graduation. And I just remained fascinated with human sexuality and theology, studied everything I could get my hands on. Eventually, I joined an international online ministry, and I was asked to join the leadership team for that ministry in part because of the wisdom I brought to the conversations about sex and marriage. And all the leaders were talking one night, and my son had a lot of extra needs when he was younger. And I was, we were all daydreaming about our futures. I was like, I see the damage of purity culture. I see the damage of obligation sex messaging. And I know that's not what God has for us. I know that he offers us so much more. He offers us abundance in all areas of our lives, not, and sex is included in that. And I want to be part of the solution. I want women to understand that they can have an amazing sex life with their husband. I want to be part of the solution. And that was kind of the end of it. And I thought that was a later thing. And God was like, we're kind of going to do this now. Because just a couple months later, something came up in the ministry, and I kind of on a whim started my social media accounts. And I was like, I have raging ADHD. I will probably lose interest in this in a couple of weeks. But God was like, oh, this is what you're doing now. Buckle up. So I had started my account on TikTok in late January. I had gone viral with a video at over 5 million views by Easter of that year. So just in a couple of months, I had gone viral, and things kept getting more and more serious. I started getting invited to podcasts, and then I got invited to appear on the Sarah Jakes Roberts podcast. If you are unfamiliar, she is the founder of Woman Evolve Ministries. Her father is TD Jakes. She and her husband just took over TD Jakes's legacy of pastoring the Potter's House. And then after I was on her podcast, they asked me to come be a speaker at her conference, Woman Evolve, and I got to speak on in a baseball stadium to 40,000 women, and I had the whole stadium screaming orgasm. And
I
the
love
whole
it. I
time
love
I'm going, okay, God, what's next? Okay, God, okay.
I love
You
this.
know, and I'm just a homeschool mom from Ohio talking about sex on the internet.
Perfect. Oh, this is so good. Okay, keep going.
Yeah. So, what I do now is I offer, like you said, I offer private coaching to women and couples who want to develop a better sex life. I have lots of products available on my website to help the sexual and non-sexual intimacies in your marriage. I do offer, you know, speaking engagements. It doesn't have to be 40,000 people. It can be, your church's small group, marriage group. I do that too. And just kind of showing up day to day and wondering, I kind of never know where God's going to take this, because like I in a million years could not have dreamed of putting my content in front of Pastor Sarah to make her want to invite me on the podcast, to make her want to invite me to this conference. So really everything that I do is me, praying over it and making sure that I am rooted in scripture, but really saying, okay, God, what's the next thing? What is the next thing that you want to do? What do you want me to talk about? How do you want to see people set free? What's your plan?
So fascinating.
All right.
I'm getting so many takeaways, Angela. First off is you had the thought, you had the nudge, the prompting. You could have talked yourself out of it. And we always get those thoughts, but
Yeah.
you didn't. You took the step anyways. You were brave and did it anyways. I love that. So I feel like that's a really good takeaway already. And also, obviously, praying over it, seeking the Lord, asking Him, what should I do? And trusting Him in the process that, okay, this makes no sense to me. But if you say so, we're going to start going that direction and see how it goes. And then also, we never know when an opportunity arises, what that's going to lead into for us and how God is going to use that.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing is, like when I tell the story, I make it sound super easy, right? Like I just started posting on TikTok, and then I went viral, and then I spoke at a conference, and it's so cool, right? But the reality of what my day to day is, it's a lot of heartbreak. And so I have women showing up in my inbox who can't have sex with her husband because it hurts. It is painful, because vaginismus is basically a panic attack of the vaginal canal. Your vaginal canal clamps shut and says, "Thou shalt not pass," because she's been so terrified because of the way that she was psychologically conditioned to talk about and frame sex and her sexual identity. And so it isn't just, I started talking about sex on the internet and then I spoke at a conference. It's, my day to day is a lot more hard work and a lot more heartbreaking.
Wow, there's so much to it that we don't see and don't know. It's incredible. Okay, so Angela, let's get into ladies that are listening. Obviously, they're here for a reason. So let's talk about what can. I mean, it's mostly ladies that listen to this by far. So,
Yeah.
what can a lady, especially a lady, maybe specifically over 40, but not necessarily, if she feels like there is some dysfunction in her sexual relationship with her husband, or this is an area that she wishes was better, not even necessarily that it's bad, but she wishes it was better. What would you say to her today?
Yeah. So, one of the pillars of my work is healthy women in safe marriages don't turn down good sex for no reason. So,
Oh, I
the
like
first thing, yeah, the first thing that you need to do is you sort of need to identify what is going wrong in your sexual relationship. And so that's one of the services that I offer as a coach is I sit down with women and we sort of talk about, okay, well, are you are you having painful sex when you do engage with sex? Do you have like a libido discrepancy where you feel like he wants it all the time and you just don't want it that often? Are you feeling pressured? Not even necessarily from him, but like from bad theology. So we really need to first identify sort of what's going wrong, why you aren't enjoying it. We have a massive orgasm gap in this country where over 90% of men orgasm every single time they engage in a sexual experience with their wives, whereas less than 50% of women orgasm every single time with their husbands, which makes no sense because we're the multi-orgasmic creatures.
Yeah.
So, the first thing you need to do is either between you and your spouse or working with someone like me, identify what's going wrong. And then we can there are very few problems that we can't solve for. There might be situations where I tell you, you know what, you need to seek a trauma informed therapist, that you need to work through this, and then you can come back to me and we'll sort of work on the fun stuff. Um, but really, getting to the root issues is the first step.
I love that. And I work with women with their hormones, and so we do see as a woman ages, the libido naturally goes down because of
Hmm.
estrogen and progesterone drop. But that's so fixable. That is so
Right.
fixable. So I'm like, literally, let's just do these couple things, and that part of it's going to be taken care of. I can't personally fix the other things that might be going on with your relationship, but I can sure show you how to get the hormones in line so that part of it is going to bring your libido back. So I love that you point out that it's not just necessarily just one thing, and it's not just here, take a supplement and all of a sudden you're going to be this raging woman that's on fire. There's things that may need to be looked at. There's maybe layers to this and not just necessarily one factor to it. So I like this. You're saying to take a step back and just look at what could be some of the things that's going on here. Why are you feeling the way that you are? I do really love the idea of going through it with a coach because they can bring an outside view of things and can bring up things that maybe you as the wife maybe is not comfortable to bring up, or I'm not sure how it's going to be taken, that kind of thing. So working with a coach, I can see would be so valuable for that. So first off, figuring out thinking about what could be causing this, what's going on, what would you say to do next?
It really depends on where the root issue is coming from. So if it is a simple matter of hormones, working on balancing your hormones, so if we look at the framework of healthy women and safe marriages don't turn down good sex for no reason, the healthy women covers a multitude of things. Doctors aren't offering informed consent when they're prescribing medications. So they aren't telling you that your anti-anxiety, your antidepressant, your birth control all have a huge impact on your libido, even so far as to not allow you to orgasm. I have had women who literally lost their ability to orgasm on certain anti-anxiety medications. And I'm not saying don't take your prescribed medications because that's not my job to tell you what you should be taking for medications. I'm telling you that your doctor probably didn't give you truly informed consent when he prescribed it.
That might be something that, and had never thought of that for ladies, that could definitely be, that could be it, or it could be definitely one piece of it.
Right. And so, like, even going deeper with the healthy women portion of it, I have a raging ADHD. And so it doesn't matter how much I want to be in bed with my husband. If my ADHD is ADHDing, it doesn't get checked at the door. So when the air conditioning turns on, or my dogs start barking at a squirrel outside, or I look up and I notice that the fan hasn't been dusted in 6 months, that's going to pull me out of the moment with my husband. And that's going to make me frustrated in bed which is going to make me less likely to want to hop into bed next time because I was frustrated last time, right? So just existing with ADHD and trying to have sex is a monumental feat. But then you also have another layer to that of one of the comorbidities of ADHD and autism is pathological demand avoidance. And so I can be sitting here, and please know when I say me, I am pretty much never referring to like my personal sex life. I really have boundaries around my personal life. This is a turn of phrase, right? So I can be sitting here all day thinking, oh yeah, when he gets home tonight, I'm going to pounce on him the moment he walks in the door, right? But if I have pathological demand avoidance, he can walk in the door and he can be like, hey, do you want to hop in bed later? And that PDA is going to kick over and be like, I wanted to, but now you can go screw yourself because you made what my brain perceives as a demand. And so that pathological demand avoidance is going to make it impossible, even though I wanted to all day long. And nobody talks about those things, right? So there's a lot of things. If you look at the way that God designed biology, if you're nursing, the prolactin required to create milk actively suppresses any sexy hormones that are required for you to have a libido. And so we have to start looking at God's biblical design for our bodies, for our systems, for our holistic health to truly understand how all of that impacts our libido. And so that, once you've identified why you're not interested, it really depends on why you aren't interested. So healthy women in safe marriages don't turn down good sex for no reason. So if you're part of the orgasm gap where you're not orgasming on a consistent basis, it's no wonder you don't want to have sex, because if you're not having fun every time, why would you want to do it?
Right.
So we can teach both of you, is it you haven't ever learned how to orgasm? Is it you have shame surrounding your own sexuality that inhibits your ability to orgasm? Is it your husband doesn't understand your anatomy? Because men take on average 5.4 minutes of thrusting in order to orgasm. Women require 18 to 20 minutes of direct clitoral stimulation in order to orgasm. And that's not even counting the 20 to 40 minutes of foreplay that we need for our bodies to be even ready to be able to handle our clitoris being touched for 14 to 20 minutes. And if he is not providing any other stimulation to get you to orgasm, he needs to learn how. And that is something that a sex coach can do, is to teach you how to help a woman reach orgasm.
So cool. I have to tell you, Angela, I didn't even know that was a thing, to be honest. But I love this. It's so interesting, fascinating, and there's so much to learn.
Well, if you think about it, most people think, because of both Hollywood and pornography and a lack of facts-based sexual education, most people think that a woman is supposed to orgasm from penetrative sex. And if she doesn't, there's something wrong with her. And why is that? It's because we have normalized the male sexual experience as what is supposed to be normal for everyone. And we've completely erased the experience of female sexuality in popular culture.
That's so fascinating. And I mean, I feel like if women are feeling like they could have that conversation, that's an amazing conversation if, for a couple to have. And to, as the woman, to why not bring it up? Talk about it. Like, he has no idea, probably. He's probably clueless. Let's be honest, right? And so for us to be the ones that maybe, open up the conversation and actually discuss this and say, hey, this is how I'm actually feeling. I'm a huge proponent for the open, honest conversations, and talking about things and just being open and honest about it, and really having that conversation, so he actually does have a clue of what you're needing, not just what he needs.
Right. Yeah. But also, if a woman has been raised being shamed for any sexual expression, it's going to be really hard for her to broach that conversation with her husband because good girls don't talk about sex.
Yeah, I mean, that is just obviously so wrong, so wrong. And so,
Right.
and if a woman has been through that, then she needs, like you said, needs to become healthy in herself. First off, she needs to heal and become
Mm-hmm.
healthy and deal with that and what's went along with that. And then recognize, hey, even through this conversation, you have permission. As a woman, you have permission to discuss it, to talk about it. This is your spouse, this is your husband. You're supposed to talk about these things, you're supposed to have these conversations. You are now one, so it's not a taboo thing. And so here's permission. Angela and I are personally giving you permission. Bring it up, talk about it,
But
do the work.
I agree, 100%. But I understand the woman who has been through this. So even that kind of statement can feel very frustrating and discouraging for her because she's like, well, I am carrying all of this shame. Like, I know I'm supposed to want to have sex with my husband. I know I'm supposed to talk to him about this, but I just can't. I just can't bring myself to do it. And so that's why I actually created a sex journal, because a lot of women, it isn't that they don't want to be having these conversations. It's that, first of all, they probably lack the vocabulary to be able to have these conversations, but also all of that internalized shame of shaming female sexuality it doesn't just go away. And so one of the things I created was a sex journal. It's called Intimate Conversations. And this has over 100 prompts. And so when I am working with a woman who wants to start having these conversations, but she just doesn't know how to do it, I recommend the journal because what it's going to do is now you can just open it up, you pick a question, and you write out your response. So I want to go on this kind of date in the future. My favorite place we've had sex is when I think about the first time we had sex, this is what I remember. I want to try playing with this food during sex, right? And so she's going to write her answer out. She's going to give it to her husband, and don't make it weird and stare into his soul while he reads it. Um, Give him space and privacy to read what you wrote. And then what he's going to do is he's going to have an opportunity to get curious. And he's going to say, "Oh my gosh, I had no idea that you wanted to play with like chocolate, like liquid chocolate in bed. Like what about that is appealing to you? Why do you think that you would enjoy that?" Right? And then he's also going to write his own response. So not only is he going to get curious about your response, he's going to get write his own response. He's going to give it back to you. He's not going to stare into your soul while you read it. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to get curious about his response. And now it's not only going to start building, the prompts themselves, but also the back and forth will start to naturally build your vocabulary, but it will start to give you the confidence because what is shame but a fear of rejection? And so when women tell me that they just can't imagine talking to their husbands about this, I'm like, well, why? Is he a horrible person? Like, did you marry a bad man? And they're like, no, no, no. I'm like, okay, what are you afraid of? And they're like, well, what if he thinks that I'm a freak and I'm like just way too kinky? And I'm like, baby, him licking chocolate off your hand isn't all that kinky. All right. So let's just, it's okay. That's not, I don't know a man that's going to be too much for it. That's really, don't even know about the kinky things I know about. Okay. Let's start there. But if he doesn't make a habit of rejecting you or being mad about your communication, then no, he's not going to look you in the eyes and be like, "Oh my gosh, why would you want chocolate in bed?" Like he's not going to do that. But writing it out in the journal removes that fear. And over time, it will build your confidence that no, he's not going to look at me like a freak because I want him to lick chocolate off of me.
Yeah, I love that. What a fantastic idea. The journal. That totally makes it like a million times easier. This is Great. What a great product. So, people can get this, I'm assuming, on your website. Tell me
Yes.
where people can get these things and how they can
Yeah.
reach out to you.
I am the Christian Sexpert across all platforms, and my website is thechristiansexpert.com.
Perfect. I love this. And that's where things like they can find the journal and different things like that.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Okay, Angela, this has been fascinating. I always like to leave with one practical step. We are going to get to some rapid fire questions for you. But before I do that, one practical step that a lady that, and I feel like we've maybe covered it already, but a practical step that a lady could take starting today. And she just says, I hear myself in what you're saying. I feel that way. You're speaking directly to me. What is one practical step she could take today to start moving her towards freedom in this area?
Um, I I don't mean this to be shameless self-promotion, but I would say to follow me and other sex educators on social media because I post every single day with educational content. So you're going to start learning, and I'm not the only, Christian sex educator out there. But really starting to educate yourself is the first practical thing that I would encourage all women to do.
Okay, got a few rapid fire questions for you to put you on the spot here, and just to help everybody get to know you a little bit better. So, favorite healthy food, because I'm in the health, I'm a health coach. So, favorite healthy food.
Hummus because I don't get to have it very often. My son has a sesame allergy, so we can't have hummus in the house, and I miss it.
So yummy. Yes. Oh, okay. Favorite place you've ever traveled?
Probably Jamaica. We went to Jamaica for our honeymoon a million years ago, and it was amazing.
So beautiful. Okay. And last one, something people may be shocked to know about you.
Um, Honestly, people when they first meet me, they're shocked to know that I'm a Christian sex coach. That is,
Bet. It's not that
yeah.
common.
Yeah, it really isn't. And I mean, I know that feels a little bit like a cop out for the answers to the question, but that is but also, like, if you guys aren't watching the video of this recording, I look like every other fat, middle aged, homeschool Midwestern mother on the planet. When people think of like sex educators and sex coaches, they think of tall, blonde women in leather, right? I am short, fat, brown haired, and in my mid 40s. So I don't fit the stereotype.
I love that. That's why it makes it even better, Angela. And you are authentically you,
Yes.
showing up. That's perfect.
Well, and that's why so many women relate to me because I'm not a 20-year-old tall blonde covered in leather. I'm a homeschool mom who is trying to figure out how to go to bed with my husband when, the kid won't go to sleep or, like fitting it in between our, his job, my job, sports practices, homeschool. Like, I'm also exhausted. Oh, you're exhausted? I'm exhausted. Yes, I get you. I'm not a 20-year-old telling you to have more sex because I get the level of exhaustion you're experiencing.
Yes, that's great. Okay. Anything else that you would like to finish off with today?
Go have good sex.
Easy. Perfect. I love it. That's a good one. Thank you so much for this, Angela. And I hope this has spoken to many ladies today. And if it has, go follow Angela, open up the conversations, get the journal. Like that's amazing. Like what a resource that is. I feel like that would be like the best wedding present to give everyone. That should be at every bridal shower, right? That is what a great gift. I mean, a gift to yourself and to your marriage and to your husband. I'm sure he's going to love it. But
Yes,
also a gift, if to give someone else, that is just so great. So thank you, Angela. Ladies, if this has spoken to you, then yes, share it with a friend. Make sure you follow Angela, get the resources, and I would say life's too short not to have good sex. So, like she said,
absolutely.
go have good sex. Thank you, Angela.
Thank you for joining me on Renewed and Radiant.
If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with another woman who's ready to live boldly, beautifully, and in divine alignment. For more faith-based wellness freedom, join me over on Instagram at the Elsa Martin, or over on Instagram and Facebook at Whole by Nutrition. Remember, you are not defined by your past or your pace. You are defined by His promise. Stay renewed, stay radiant, and I'll see you in the next episode.